Welcome back to Drunk Linux User. I am Len, the Drunk Linux User, who today is not drunk. Yesterday I was a little buzzed, but that's because I've been suffering with a summer cold, and my throat felt like it was about like this, but I wanted to really try to get a video out, and I did, and I liked it, but apparently it kind of stepped on the sensibilities of a few people who came back and told me, "I feel so embarrassed for you. You should never have done such a thing." Well, I think what happened was that they're more embarrassed by association with me that I did such a thing, and I absolutely have no apologies for that. And the reason that I'm doing the Drunk Linux User not drunk today has nothing to do with that, other than the fact that I don't drink that much anyway, and the whole business of Drunk Linux User is basically I'm drunk on Linux. I really love the Linux operating system, and I enjoy working with the software. So, will it ever come to pass that you will see a Drunk Linux User again? Yeah, more than likely. I am not a teetotaler, and if I find something fun that I think can work with that other medium in place in my system, then yes. So don't feel bad that I have a summer cold. I get one every year. This is normal, and it's always in the summertime, and it always makes my throat raspy and my head feel like it's all full of junk. And right now this is all a good thing, because you know what I've got antibodies, so I'm really happy about this. All right. And it's almost gone. Today, now I've got water, and I'll have this over here in case I need it. All right, so today, as semi-promised in the previous show, I'm going to talk about some of the software I find very useful in Linux. And this is not all-encompassing. All I'm dealing with today is one of the first things that a lot of people have a complaint about with Linux is it doesn't have Microsoft Office. Too bad. Well, okay. Some companies require that you have Microsoft Office. I understand that. And they may have you have a subscription to Office 365, which is the web-based version of Office. It's like having Google Docs and all this other crap. I don't like software as a service for the most part. I think that you have a lot more control over it if you are housing all of your documents in-house. Well, forgetting all that, let's get rid of some of the arguments about Office compatibility problems. Are there some? Yeah, there are. Linux does not have a one-to-one Microsoft Office feature set, and maybe one day that'll happen. It really does appear that Microsoft has taken a huge interest in Linux and have partnered up with Ubuntu. The Ubuntu's makers are Canonical, and Canonical, which is a South African-based company, are working very strongly with Redmond and the Microsoft teams to put Ubuntu inside Windows, and you can, with Linux, even before all this crap started to happen, you can actually create what's called a virtual machine using something like VirtualBox. I'm not just plugging them. I use them, but I'm not saying you got to use that. But I can put Windows anything on it, really. I've put Windows 95 in a VirtualBox. It's weird, but it works. And but I can put in Windows 7, 8, 10, whatever. Not 11. I don't think I'll be able to do that. Regardless, there is a relationship building between Microsoft and the Linux communities. And I think you might one day see an Office product for Linux that won't have complete compatibility, it'll be darn close, but it's not going to have complete compatibility. Microsoft wants to have more of a cloud-based structure, so even they're even talking. I guess you can actually use Windows online as an operating service. Operating service. You just go online and log in, and boom, you've got a Windows whatever running in your browser. It's sort of like Chrome operating system, the Chrome OS. So, long-winded introduction. Here we go. I'm going to go into Brave, and I'm going to show you. I've got a few tabs set up here, but the first one I'm going to go to is the one that everybody seems to like to try to tout the first, and that is LibreOffice. It is open source, and it does have a lot of companies that do work to try to make this viable, and it is getting better. It is. I will say that for the most part, with most docx documents, it will open and render reasonably and sufficiently well. The only problems that you're going to find are anything that have to do with macros. Sometimes the macros from the Windows side just don't translate over to the LibreOffice side on Linux. And that would also be true because you can download this for Windows, you can download this for Mac, and it's pretty simple. It's a big ass program. It's just for some can be a problem, I guess. So on their homepage, LibreOffice.org, just go to download now, or you can use that top thing, and then it kind of figures out what you've got. So if you've got Windows, you're going to see Windows up here. If you've got Linux, it does a really so-so job trying to figure out. Now in RPM, that's more for Fedora based kind of systems. I am on a Linux Mint with Unity, and so Debian based operating system is going to be a Linux 64-bit. So I would choose that. Maybe. There we go. And then I'd click download. You can go into the software repositories here. Let me give you an idea here. So if I go into software and I look up LibreOffice, it is in here. But Ubuntu and Linux Mint typically do not have the latest versions, and the latest versions are going to have the best compatibility with Microsoft Office. So as you can see on their website down here, the one that I'm downloading or have downloaded is LibreOffice 7.1.5. That's the latest, greatest. Now, if you take a look at the LibreOffice that they're putting up on this, oh, well, look at that. Huh. Oh, but it's Flat Hub. Now, not everybody likes this particular way of installing software on their computer, and that's understandable because flat packs are usually about 4 times larger as far as size goes. So if you have a smaller hard drive, this takes up a lot of room, and it also takes up a lot of RAM. If I take a look at this right now, okay, so there's a difference between I have the Linux Mint version that I have a choice to download, and as you can see, it is not 7.1.5, it is 6.4.7. The reason for this is LibreOffice's most stable version. Okay, it's not going to have the greatest compatibility settings though for Microsoft. So if the compatibility settings are the most important part, you want to go to the LibreOffice on the website, download it, which I think I did. I don't see where it may have gone. Did I do that? Double check. Download. Oh, I guess I didn't. Okay. I'm going to show you a little trick with this. There's actually 2 little tricks that'll go on here. So just save that to my downloads, and I'll show in the folder. This is from yesterday's show. Don't need it. Delete it. And I'll just put this over here because we don't need this either. Okay, so it's finished downloading. I'm going to extract it here. Okay. That gives me this wonderful folder. Now, in the folder are two other folders. There are the readmes, which basically are going to tell you exactly what I'm going to show you. Double-click and go into the Debs file. These are Debian-based containers. I have not put LibreOffice on this computer. I really don't want to. I have my reasons for it. But, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you how to get started though. Okay? And by opening up a terminal from within this folder, see, I just right-clicked and I said open in terminal. Boom, this little guy pops up. Here's the trick. Sudo, it's like super user, okay? Sudo dpkg space hyphen the letter I space. Do a little wildcard here. A little wildcard is going to be an asterisk dot deb. Okay, the deb, as you can see on the files in this folder, they all end in deb. What this is doing is it's telling the computer to decompress and install the packages from all of these deb files into your system. So if I go ahead and click hit enter and I put in my password, it's gonna come up with all of the stuff. You see it's unpacking. Please understand that my recording makes everything a lot slower on the computer. It will go a lot faster than this. Told you I have two cats. Well, the boy cat, he's on the floor and he's dreaming that he's drinking. He is bizarre. Okay, so as you can see, this is all going through this unpacking process, and then it probably should ask me, do I want to continue, yes or no, and I'm going to click no. But if it said yes, you'd see that it was installing, and you'd see there'd be a word processor by the name of Writer. There's a spreadsheet. Maybe I am doing it. Oh well, I can always take it out. Yeah, it's installed. Okay. Well, I'll go ahead and close this out. I'll give you an idea here. This is what Writer looks like. Okay. Writer. LibreOffice. There's two different versions of LibreOffice now. There's one called Community. This is for everybody. And it gives you a chance to let you know you can change the interface any way you want to. Run tips at startup. Just click OK. I don't need the release notes, but as you can see, this is like old Office. I mean, and it kind of looks old. You can change the user interface to tabbed if you want to. You can set up tabs for all of the programs or just to Writer. I'm going to go ahead and do it for all and close. And as you can see, it's very much like Microsoft Office. It's just LibreOffice instead. I'll take all this off later. I don't really want this, but hey, it was good to show you though, huh? All right, so we've got this. We're going to go ahead and delete because I don't need it anymore. So that is LibreOffice. This is how you can get started with that. Again, it's fairly good in dealing with Microsoft Office documents. A lot of what a normal spreadsheet can do, as well as presentation files. It even has a database program in there, so that you can do your own, little database. It's not as good as something like FileMaker Pro or Access, but it doesn't suck. It's a little hard to get set up, but it doesn't suck. Okay, so we're done with that, and we're going to close out. The next one is the one I'm going to use. It's called SoftMaker Office. Now, there's a free version and there's a paid version. The paid version gives you more flexibility to work with Microsoft Office documents, which is what I need. The reason I chose SoftMaker is because I noticed that on a lot of complicated doc files that I was receiving, this is the only one that actually looked like the originals. So as far as one-to-one goes, man, these people have really got it. Now, again, this is just what I find and what works for me. So you know, as they say, your mileage may vary. Okay, just go to downloads, applications. Oh, they got a deal going on where you can get Paintshop Pro for free. I got something called ViewScan when I bought mine, which is you can use it on just about any scanning machine. It gives you more options and better scan results. For me, I chose Linux, download, and then with this drop down you can choose whatever version you want. Again, I'm going to use the deb files, and it gives me a chance to save it to my downloads. I'm not going to save it, but this is what TextMaker looks like. And I can't show you a Word document that somebody has given me because of the proprietary information on it. But again, very, very much like Microsoft Office in appearance, this just happens to do an extraordinarily nice job of being able to convert from Microsoft Office to SoftMaker. Now, you can change the appearance of this too. If you don't like tabs, you don't have to have tabs. You can use whatever you want to. If you like the old style, you can change it to a dark theme if you want. You can make it look like Windows 98 if you want. But if you wanted to have something like that, you just go ahead and click OK, restart it. And when it restarts, you don't have the tabs anymore. You'll have the drop down or the regular kind of menus that you would see on something else. Oddly enough, I actually have gotten used to, because of some of the places where I've worked before, I've gotten used to the tabs. I'm actually faster with them now. But I honestly think that if you really need something a little bit more where you have to drill down and find certain things to use, having the regular menus is probably the better way to go. Honestly, I just don't need it that much. I don't do that much complicated work with Word anymore. So that's the writer part. You know, I showed you Planner yesterday with the when I was showing you Unity. There's also a spreadsheet program. I'm bringing that up right now. This is going to take just a second. Okay. Again, it's very, very, very similar to Microsoft Office, and you can just start working right away with it. They've got different themes that you can add. It's really nice. So that's SoftMaker. Okay, I'll put the web links in the description if you're interested. Another really good one is OnlyOffice. Now, OnlyOffice has a couple of different ways of operating. One is you can set up your own cloud, okay, your own server, and you can run OnlyOffice in your network at work or at home, I suppose, using it this way, or you could use their cloud servers to store your stuff. I'm not a big fan of clouds. But if you want, you can go to onlyoffice.com, go to the downloads, and you can choose desktop. And from the desktop, you can choose Windows, older versions of Windows, Mac, and different versions of Mac, older, newer. Scroll down further, and you can find the stuff for Ubuntu. Now, the first is for the newest versions of Ubuntu, and these work really, really great. This is for the older versions. There are still people using older versions of Ubuntu and Debian, and so they still support them. So for Red Hat Linux and CentOS, they have these. Ubuntu has its own way of packaging their software. They call it snaps or snapped, and so you can get this as a snap package. Again, you can use Flatpak. There's nothing really wrong with Flatpak. It's just they really take up a lot of space and RAM when you start to use them. App images. Now, here's something I find very interesting about app images. Is app images actually hold everything that program's supposed to have in one container. Because of that, I have found that there are certain, like for example, if I wanted to download this version, it's probably going to have everything I want. Okay, it's going to have everything that the software is supposed to have. But I have noticed on some things like Kdenlive, we have what are called PPAs. These are repositories where you can download from an off server, and I've gone into things like Kdenlive, and I've been looking for the motion tracking part of the software, which is really, really cool, and you don't get that in Shotcut, at least not right now, and it wasn't there. And then somebody said, well, you should try the app image. If you try the app image, it should be there. So I did, and it was. And from that point forward, whenever I typically download Kdenlive, I'll use the app image because it seems to have all the software that the PPA, and I don't understand why, but for some reason that particular version of the software, the person who packaged it all up and put it together decided that maybe it was too hard or too difficult to include that. So anyway, long story short, not really. Download the app image. This one seems to work really, really nicely as an app image. I've shown you yesterday that there are different ways of being able to use this, so I'm going to use what I've already put in place, which is the app image launcher. So as you can see, right now the app image is in this folder. I'm going to click open with app image launcher. It's going to ask me, what do you want to do with it? In a minute, anyway. I can either run it once or I can integrate it and run it. I'm only going to run it once because I'm going to be getting rid of this as soon as it's done. Well, go ahead, integrate and run. I'll show you something else. See, it's gone. It's not there anymore. It's in my computer. It's in my computer, actually. In just a moment, I'll show you that. This is only Office launching. It looks like Windows 10, doesn't it? So if you're a Windows 10 convert over to Linux, or if you're on Windows 10, it looks like it just stepped out of a Windows 10 machine, doesn't it? This does a very, very nice job. I would say it comes in second place to SoftMaker when it comes to compatibility with Linux, with Microsoft Office, excuse me. I can't vouch for this because I've never tried this with a very big or complicated document. It seems to me that the longer the document, the more memory it's been taking up, and and this applies to not only the app image but the PPA or the deb file that you can download for this. And things just seem to slow down. So I don't particularly care to use this for anything on a large scale, but I will tell you that as far as something like 2-3 pages, something like that somebody shoots over to you, this seems to work really, really nicely. I like it a lot in a lot of different ways, but I'm not going to keep it. So when you want to get rid of an app image, this is how easy this is. Only Office, there it is. Right click. Oops, I'm in the wrong place. Guess what? It's different in a Unity. I can just go over here on the computer to my home folder, and you will see that there is applications. Okay. And I can delete that. This is where some of my other things went to as well, like Shotcut. an etcher that I showed you the other day, and my password saver, which is a Bitwarden, and Libreoffice, which is a version of Firefox that is not phoning home to Mozilla all the time. I can just delete it from here. And then I can delete the icons out later on. Way more than I was going to get into right now, as far as we're just trying to talk about Office software, but this gives you some idea of how you can use it anyway. So that's only Office. It is a software package that gives you all three in one. I didn't really show that to you, did I? I think it was, oops, online accounts. No way. Only Office. Here we go. It boots up into the document writer. I think most people probably are using the word processor. I'm sorry, this is taking a little time. There we go. But here's the spreadsheet. And like the others, it's very much in line with Microsoft Office's appearances. You've got the tab. And again, this is really going slow because I'm also video recording at the same time, but you've got all the different menus that you can go to. It's nice. Click over here on Only Office. You can go to Presentations. So this is all in one program. Whereas the others that I've been showing you so far, they've all been separate programs altogether. And I'm not going to bother waiting for that. I'm just going to go ahead and close it out. So that's Only Office. Good program. Really, really good program. Now, this is WPS. And WPS used to be the best as far as translating from Microsoft Office to something else. It still does a fairly good job. I think that Only Office beats it. So if Only Office beats it, you know SoftMaker's going to beat it. I've noticed that it is breaking when it comes to complex texts with image and inserted tables and framed. So it's nice. It's really good. I'm just offering this as a suggestion. This is something else that you can use. WPS.com/Linux to download this, and this just gives you the pictures. You have to go to the Linux community page to get it, and then you can download it from here. One of the things I don't like about this one is, and they may have changed this, but I kind of doubt it, is that when you first open this up, it's like opening up a web browser full of advertising. And I disable all that stuff when I open it. And I don't know how much of the program actually is restricted simply to your computer, or if it's sharing this with maybe the developers just for whatever reasons. So I don't use this anymore. I used to, because at one time it really was the best for Linux in being able to convert a Word or an Excel document over. And it still does a fairly good job. Last time I tried this was probably about 8 months ago. It was right around the end of the year, last year, 2020. So I just wanted to see how I'd been keeping up. And as you can see, they're still saying WPS Office 2019. So the version hasn't changed since I've tried it. It was fairly good. It just wasn't as good as. And honestly, I almost think that the latest version of Libreoffice actually probably does just a little bit better in some respects. But again, your mileage may vary. The next program I'm going to show you is Ghostwriter. It is not a normal word processor, but it does have its value. And this is a really, really nice editor that you can write in what's called Markdown language. And you can see some of the pictures. They have different themes, but you put in these little codes like a hashtag and then a space, and then it creates a nice a nice look. Like you can have your source code on the left. And I don't want to scare anybody off because this is really, really stupid simple to use. They even give you cheat sheets in the program so that I can't remember how to do this, you can just click up here and one of these will show you what it is. Anyway, over on the right hand side, it gives you the nice looking text, and you can export. If you install something called Pandoc and Text Live, these are different ways of exporting documents from programs like Ghostwriter into different formats like PDF and docx format. You can create HTML pages using this. You can insert pictures. You can do a lot of things with this. Actually, it gives you word counts. You can do math on here. You can put in your equations and whatnot. This is just a really when I'm writing down notes or I'm trying to come up with maybe some bullet points. This is a very, very small program. It's right here, by the way. And the way I have it set up, I can put my documents on the left-hand side over here. I type here. I get to view it over on the right-hand side. So again, just a simple hashtag space. This is a heading, and if you do 2 hashtags, then it's a header 2. This is header 2. Gives you some idea what it's like. This is normal text, and if you want to have different lines for different sentences, that way if you need to kind of like move things around, if you just hit return and then start typing again, this is the second sentence, and hit return again, you'll notice over on the right hand side that it's continued on. Again, this is just really nice. One more space and you have a new paragraph. Ooh. So you can continue on there if you want to, or you can start a new line and it just continues. If you want to do with Markdown, if you want to do italics, you just hit the asterisk and go italics. Can't spell. I guess it doesn't matter if I'm drunk or not, does it? And if you do 2, okay, here. This is really good. Remember I told you that if you wanted to do like indents and whatnot, it has a way of being able to do this. If you want to do bold, okay, it's 2 asterisks, bold, and you just hit end to go to the next. On the right, you see what you have. Now, if you want, you can come up here and export using Pandoc, and you can see all the different ways that you can save as. You can save it as an open document, open it up in something like Libreoffice, rich text format, a Word document, PDF, EPUBs, LaTeX if you want to do like the math stuff. There's also, I think Multi-Markdown might have, it's pretty much the same. Yeah. So there are different ways that you can use this program for different functions. I do use them. I do some work in WordPress, which is a way of putting up a web page. It just makes it nice. I can just copy and paste, and it's so easy to use. Go ahead and cancel, and I can close without saving. And that's what I use. This is basically to put a bunch of notes together for projects that I'm using. So if I have a project, I'll create a folder, I'll put these notes in there, and it saves me from having to lug open a great big word processing program just to write some simple notes. There are other things too, by the way. There's a program called Jedit in Linux, GNOME, and Ubuntu. And as you can see here on the display, it just says text editor. If I go click on that, then it brings this up. It's more powerful than it appears, though. And every every line has a number. People use this for programming too. You can save it as a plain text document. You can save it as a bunch of different things here, as you can see. Different COBOL. My God, they can even do COBOL. That's pretty cool. So this actually saves in a lot of different type of text documents, and it's not alone in this regard. Most Linux packages have something like this. KDE has Kate, K-A-T-E. That's really nice. It really is. I like Jedit very well. I like what I can do with Ghostwriter. It's just, I'm very visual when it comes to stuff like that. So using Ghostwriter is more beneficial for me. And that's pretty much it as far as Office programs are concerned. There are others that you can use, and yes, you can go log in and use Office 365. You can use Google Docs. You can actually go into, if you have an iCloud account, you can use their word processing and spreadsheet programs online as well. Pretty much, if it's online, you can use it. It's all based on using something very similar to either using a Chrome-based browser like Brave does, or Firefox. I think most of them are coming closer to using the Chrome-based browsers, which is kind of ticking off a lot of people. But, if the majority of people are using Chrome-based browsers, then the developers are going to be going where the people are. And that's how things are working right now. There's more as far as Office, there's email clients. There's one called Evolution, which I'll show you. Email. Pardon me. And again, this is all part of the GNOME universe, which Unity is a part of. And it's very much like Outlook. And it works extraordinarily well. Give you some idea of what it looks like. It does work with... Oh, that's a horrible picture. I don't know who did that, but that's absolutely horrible because mine doesn't look anything like that. Oh, they're just color coding it. Okay, basically, forget the colors. They're just basically showing you what every aspect of it is supposed to be. And you've got, it's very much like Outlook. You'll have contacts, you'll have a calendar, nice preview pane for over here. You can set it up vertically too. This is like the old style Outlook Express way of reading mail. You can set this section right here, that's in blue, vertically, so you can have all your email accounts on the left. You can have your messages listed here in another pane going this way, and then you get a full page over on the right hand side to view the email. Again, because I have emails that I don't want you to read, I'm not going to show you mine. But this is really a great program. There's also Mozilla Thunderbird. You can use this for email as well. It is much. It is quick. Does not use a whole lot of resources on your computer. Let's see if I can go to the features page and see a little bit more about it. But they're working on it. They're working on trying to make it better, more visually appealing. Right now, it's not all that. A lot of people just don't like it so much because it doesn't look like the newer programs. It's a little bit more difficult to read sometimes. So that's why they do what they do. Everybody comes up with something the way they like it, and it's sort of like that old adage, well, if you don't like the way Facebook is working, make your own. Well, everybody in the world can make their own software if they know how. And the Mozilla basically had dumped Thunderbird, so it's kept Firefox, but the developers and whatnot, they still work together. You can see that there's a lot of Firefox that's being used in Thunderbird, and so it's going to be more of a browser-based type of program as opposed to something similar to Evolution, which is a program that incorporates like a web view when it comes to HTML messages that you receive. I know that there's a lot of other different types of software out there for offices, but I'm just trying to hit on the big ones today. And I'm starting to lose my throat, so I think I'm going to kind of call it quits, and maybe stir up a hot toddy because my throat's getting a little raw again. But I hope this has helped in some regard as far as what the different office products are. And if you notice, just about everything, I don't think Ghostwriter and Jedit will translate over to Windows, but everything else you can download for Windows if you're still using Windows. Bless you. And I have my particular likes and dislikes, and I've tried just about everything that's out there, or anything that I'd want to pay for. I didn't pay that much for SoftMaker at the time they had a deal going on. I think it was like $35, $40, something like that, and I got the scanning software too. So I'm going to call this a day, and I hope you'll leave me some comments. Let me know what you like the best, where you think I'm full of crap, and all that good stuff. And this is the drunk Linux user saying bottoms up. Water. And I'll see you soon, because the next time I'm going to start talking about things like audio and video, some of the reasons why I choose what I use when I make these videos. Bye for now. See you later. Later, dudes.